Welcome to another Titan Esports interview. This time, we're taking a look at the Immortal League. Now, the winter season has wrapped up, and we're talking specifically with our Immortal champions, Maelstrom Esports. 3 out of 5 of the championship winning roster. We've got jungler, support, and mid laner. It's Castek, Trixui, and Aethel on your screen. First of all, thank you so much, guys, for taking the time for this interview. I know not all of you can make it, but congratulations on the win, the championship win in Immortal, a 3-0 over Omega Akuma pairing knives. Before I guess, ask you three individually about stuff about your own season, your own growth, any of you can jump in and just give thoughts. I guess I'll start with you, Aethel. Talk about playing with Loki in this season, because Loki Dosi obviously couldn't be here. You were ADC. Kind of the synergy that you guys had that you were able to build over the season. How did you feel it really came together towards the end? Did you guys feel like you two really hit your stride as the bot lane duo?
I think I personally felt it took a bit of time for me to get used to playing with such the Glazes. Honestly, the Glaze is honestly worth it. Loki Dosi is a very good player.
Yeah,
probably one of the best ADCs I have ever played with. So it took me a while to get used to playing with such a good ADC. I play scrims, I play solo queue like an absolute inter, and I might have tilted him at least 65 million times. But I mean, at least we have, at least towards the end of the split, we're getting a lot of synergy together. And as you saw, in the playoffs, we started ramping it up in the ball lane. So I guess that contributes to the practice and playing together.
Nice. And okay, we'll talk about Fiven now, your top laner who couldn't be here. I guess one of you two, Castek or Trixui, can chime in on playing with Fiven. What did he bring to the table for this team? What was it like playing with him up in the top lane?
Well, personally for me, I really like playing with him because he's he can play with low resources,
Yeah.
So, I really like my bot lane. Of course, as you could see, they were incredible. So I played for them a lot. And he was still doing good even though I wasn't playing for him, so I just really enjoyed that. He wasn't complaining at all, and we could see at the end he was popping up. It was really good, and I just enjoyed it,
Yeah, awesome. It's good to see. It's good to see that synergy. Were you about to have some words as well, Castek? Is that what I heard?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll follow the same sentiment. I think that guy's a beast. He's just he didn't get any attention 90% of those games, and he ended up, I'm not gonna say destroying the enemy top laner, but he ended up pulling his weight and maybe even carrying some games, especially in playoffs. That guy was someone you can rely on. Even if Loki's not 1v9ing, with some games he wasn't able to because just of how the teams were playing. Fiven was able to pull the weight of the bot lane and just kill everybody. So it's a pleasure having him on my team.
Yeah, it's good to hear. Yeah, the strengths of players and what everyone brings to the table. We'll talk about you guys individually now. We'll start with, I guess, the highest order on the map positioning, at least. We'll start with jungle, and you, Trixui. You talked about, I mean, there's some games, you and Castor were talking about the fact that Loki wasn't always 1v9 in games. You yourself had a lot of pop-off performances. I remember specifically, I was casting your guys' semifinal series, and you were going ballistic on the Diana there. What made you able to have some of these, be able to find these Diana angles within the team? Why are these champions the ones that you gravitate to? Because it was a ton of fun to watch. And how did your champion pool, did it grow at all over the course of the season, or did you really just stick to what worked for you before the season began and what you were already familiar with?
Well, usually I play assassins, high tempo junglers, so I try to keep it that way. So that's why I was playing Diana and even J4, I just like these champ. They're just good for me, and Diana is just so OP. If you want it or not, this champ is just broken. I don't know why nobody plays her. Just at my games, it's just broken at this point. I don't know what to say. That's just why I played him.
You made it look broken because I said on the cast, the one angle you had, I can't remember what the enemy team was, but it looked like a really hard Diana angle. And you still were able to pull it off and make the big plays happen. And you also had yourself third team All-Pro at the end of the season. So congrats to you for that. And yeah, I mean, there was a lot of games where you really popped off. We'll talk to you now, Castek. And it's funny because I wasn't super tapped in with the Immortal general chat, but it seemed to me like there was a lot of people, whether it's all jokes or whether they're serious or not, you were getting fried and memed on all the time. You had so many naysayers, so many haters, even your own teammates. Loki was flaming you when he was supposed to be flaming Kerrigan on Omega Akuma. What do you have to say now to all the doubters now that you are a Titan Immortal champion?
It's a lot of it is banter. Some of it might not be or might not sound like it is, but I take it as banter, especially for my teammates. Like, I know my teammates think I'm a good player, otherwise they wouldn't be playing with me.
Facts.
So I'm glad that we won so dominantly.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, it kind of proved that I'm not what people think I am in the mid lane, regardless of the players I have. Like having Loki, Trix, Aethel on my team made it a lot easier. But even then, like, none of these mid laners were actually completely stomping me or anything. So it wasn't like the sentiment that was made in the community was all like fabricated just for content. So it is what it is. Like, yeah. I know myself, and I know I'm a good player, and hopefully I'll keep proving myself that way in the coming seasons.
Hell yeah. I mean, yeah, at this point, all it is would be ironic considering you are now the champion. Aethel, I'll now go to you. I imagine at the very least, you were doing a good amount of shot calling for the team to some degree. But what do you feel like over the course of the season? I talked earlier about your synergy with Loki in your bot lane 2v2. What do you feel like you improved on the most over the course of the season as the season progressed as a support player? Or maybe something you picked up, a skill you picked up along the way. What do you feel was the biggest part of your growth in your gameplay this season?
I think like one of the biggest things that I really got to improve on, like prior to coming to Maelstrom, I was a bit rusty, like playing comp. I hadn't played for like quite a while. So I was basically just trying to get myself back into it. But one thing I also came to realize playing comp is that support jungle synergy is kind of broken.
It is.
Like with Loki, who I know he could hold himself alone, like if we just give him enough resources, like towards like the end of the season, you know, like our game started looking a lot cleaner. Like you saw towards our regular season games were always 3-game bangers. We're always trying to get as much practice as we can during our games, since we're not getting enough during our weeks. But yeah, towards playoffs, I started, you know, like trying to move a lot with Trix, trying to get vision in their jungle and trying to look for things overall. And I guess that also like helped enable like the entire team to move and play a lot better around the map. So I think that's one of the things I picked up the most from this season, and hopefully like I could, you know, like learn more from what I just learned here, and, you know, have a better performance next time I play.
And I'll open this question up to any of you who want to answer. Talking about just your most recent series, I know at the point of this recording it was a while back, but it was very dominant. It was a 3-0. What do you guys feel was the reason on the day for you guys being so dominant? Was it you guys just woke up with the right mindset, your hands were working the best they'd ever worked before? Or do you feel like you guys, like you said, were having a lot of close series in the regular season, but then you just ramped up in the playoffs? And if that is the case, what was it that really clicked with you guys in that postseason?
I think in the last series, we were like very heavily rated as underdogs coming in. Like everybody was predicting that we would get 3-0 or 3-1 and stuff. And especially after the first game, I did notice some sort of like switch in how they played the second game. Because after they completely like griefed the first game, especially the Gwen, I did notice that they were like off a little bit. But that doesn't, I mean, it's not an excuse for them to be off. I mean, they shouldn't be off. It's a best out of 5. They should be locked in all 3 games. But after we won, it kind of didn't like feel like it was that much of an accomplishment because we beat them so badly.
Yeah.
And then we also had the the controversy afterwards with some of the competitive rule breaks and stuff, which was dealt with. But yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have it more like less of a sour win, but I think the series proved that we're a team to be reckoned with. that nobody should underestimate us.
Yeah, I mean, of course, because 3-0 in the grand final, I think that would be the easiest way to send that message. And I guess maybe the word you were looking for was anticlimactic. Maybe you were envisioning a super close series or a 5-game bang out. Then it ends up just being that stomp. I do remember that game one. It was like, I felt like Gwen, because I was casting that series with Golden Gad, and it felt like Gwen was in a really good spot to carry that game, and it was looking really nice. And then it's just one pick, and it's just an avalanche. You guys end the game, and that's what it really felt like got the ball rolling for you and ended up making you guys the champions that season. So I want to ask each of you, and whether all three of you want to answer and take your turn, or just one of you can speak for the entire group, however you guys want to do that. But what does the competitive future look like for you guys now? Because I've heard questions. I know Golden Gad was wondering in the post-game interview and talking to Loki Dosi, are you guys going to stay together as a team and run it back? Or are any of you going to take a break from competitive? What are your aspirations going forward?
Well, I can start for this question. I need to take a break for the summer, so now I won't play competitive. I might come back like in September or somewhere in between that, but I'm not sure yet. That's for me personally, and I don't know about the team yet.
For me, for me, I don't think we'll get our entire roster for the coming summers. So since I basically told myself I'm only playing with this roster or I'm playing with nobody. So since we're not having tricks, I think I will step down for a bit as well for support. But who knows, maybe after the summer, or we might have the same team together, but who knows, only time will tell. Yeah. But for now, I think I will take a break. I'll just focus on solo queue and expanding my champ pool, and who knows, maybe I'll be back for the fall or winter.
Yeah, and I think one thing that kind of was meddling with our team is the fact that we want to be able to participate with this team, with the R4 main roster without tricks in multiple leagues. But since Aethel is too good because his LP rank is too high,
my bad, I'll watch replay and improve. My bad.
He's unable to compete in other leagues besides Titan. So since Trix is leaving, Aethel's like, okay, I'll step down, and then you guys can play in multiple leagues at once. So for now, me, Maka, which is 5-on, and Loki are staying together, as far as I know. We've been working on building a new roster. The people who we have now are secret. You guys will find out when the roster sheet is out.
Mm-hmm. Can I leak the roster?
No, you cannot. But yeah, we'll be us three will be staying together with some new additions. And in terms of staying as Maelstrom, we've been looking to move on from Maelstrom for reasons I won't disclose. But they've been a really good host for us, really strong org. I know they have a bunch of teams playing in different leagues now, but I think we were looking for more of a organized space to improve. So us three are moving on from Maelstrom, and then we'll be coming back under a different name in the summer.
Okay, interesting. So that'll be fun, because we don't know prod side of things yet, but if I am covering Immortal for the next split, that would be interesting to track. The former champions, 3/5 of the former champions, and just kind of spontaneously now, I've had this question come up in my head. You guys are high-ranked players in League of Legends. Do you guys have aspirations to go beyond 600 LP cap leagues, maybe go into the open qualifiers later on, and try and qualify for NACL? Do you guys have aspirations to try and get up to maybe even the pro level? Obviously, as big of a task that is, does that float around in any of your guys' minds at all?
Well, not for me personally. I was just doing this league for fun. It's the first time I actually do a league, and maybe it's the last time, who knows, but I don't think I'm gonna go any further than that, to be honest.
Originally I was looking for an OQ team coming into the year, the season 15 year. I was originally looking for an OQ team, but obviously I was not able to find any. I was pretty low, and I was also pretty rusty. So I think like my best course that like I figured was to look for a team. But I mean after this split, I mean I don't think I'm ready for OQs. I don't think I'll ever be. I think I'm at the point where I just want to take this game for fun and like, you know, make friends and like, you know, build friendships along the way.
Yeah, I'm also the same. Using as Aethel and Trix. I'm about to graduate college. I'm gonna have a job lined up. So I don't think I'm playing this kind of just for the community building and the competitive aspect of playing League of Legends. Loki, I can speak for Loki a little bit. He was considering moving up to ACL or OQ or those like uncapped leagues.
Right.
But I think he's trying to focus on getting better instead of like he wants to be like the player who deserves to move up after destroying everybody in these 600 LP leagues. So he wants to have that, you know, that name once he goes up. In terms of 5-on, he's the same as me. Like I know 5-on in real life. We go to the same school. And, you know, believe it or not, the way I found him is I was trying out top laners for the team. And I went through like 5 different top laners. And none of them were good. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to ask him 5-on because I know he's good. I played with him in collegiate. And he's like, okay, I'll just play for fun. So I don't think he's looking for any pro aspirations.
Well, it's always, it's always good to just kind of poke around and see what you guys are thinking about, because you're kind of, like you said, bordering around that ACL tier 3 level. So I just had to spontaneously ask you guys that. But that kind of wraps up the interview for today. Again, congratulations to the 3 of you, and extending them to Loki and Fiven, to Maelstrom Esports 2025 Titan Immortal Winter Champions, a dominant playoff run, lots of growth over the course of the season, especially now picking your brains here in this interview. I will say, any shout outs you 3 want to give before we close it up and kind of wrap up the entirety of content here for Titan Immortal 2025 in the winter season?
Yeah, I just want to give a few shout outs. I want to give a shout out to Bixus, Maelstrom Oregoner. We had a small hiccup mid-season where we lost our coach due to his own like personal reasons. So we were looking for a few weeks for a coach and we couldn't find one. And then at the very end, we ended up finding one during playoffs that kind of helped us with drafts and stuff. So shout out to Bixus. And then shout out to our 2 subs, Mr. Frosty and Overrate. They really came in clutch because some of the days we weren't able to bring in a full roster. So they pulled through and brought home the win during those days. Shout out to my team. Shout out to Zarek. Yeah, that's my shout outs. I don't know. That's it.
Yeah, you said it all.
Yeah.
That works for the 2 of you as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he got the words out of my mouth, so
Yeah,
Perfect.
basically.
Well,
Shout out
thanks
to
so much,
Lester.
guys.
Shout out to Lester for the motivational content.
Oh yeah, true.
banger content every single week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like reading the news on your performance there.
Every Wednesday, Thursday, it's just like I look forward to seeing a new bit of content, seeing Costec flamed every week.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting, you know.
Well, now you'll
Something
know.
here to
Now
speak.
you'll know if there's any more. It's just like you kind of just brush it off. It's just like fuel to the fire as a champion now. But thank you guys so much for joining me for this interview, and congratulations on your season, and best of luck for your future endeavors in League of Legends, whether you do play again or, you know, for those of you running it back next season, like I've heard, best of luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
That is the interview with the Titan Immortal champions. Maelstrom Esports, 3/5 of the roster. They had a 3-0 over Omega Akuma pairing knives to claim that trophy. And that is going to do it for this interview today. Stay tuned for more interviews in the future. Summer Split starting up again very soon. Stay tuned for that. For all of the leagues, we'll be covering content for all of that. And until then, we'll see you in the next one. Take care.